Welcome everyone to the first ever Sims Machinima and Animation Convention, SMAC for short. I'm one of your hosts, Simsberrry, aka Bree, and right now I'm joined by Kyle from FLX Pictures.
This convention was created in order to uplift and celebrate the art of Sims Machinima, and everyone involved with it. We wanted to create an inclusive, non-competitive event that would also give the directors the opportunity to show their progress and interact with their audience.
We are excited to showcase almost 30 different submissions for this year.
This year's SMAC is separated into 2 days, so make sure to come back tomorrow to catch your favorites who weren't included today.
Day 1 features projects that will take you on an adventure to new worlds full of witches, angels, gods, and even sentient computers. These directors walk the line of what is and isn't possible to create in Sims.
Joining us today are 4 directors and 3 voice actors, but you'll also be able to catch a plethora of trailers.
So let's jump right into it with THEESCAMILY and her series Code Xana.
Hey everyone, to kick off the event, I'm joined by Cass, or THEESCAMILY, a wonderful Sims 4 director and also Blender animator. Hi Cass, welcome to our first panel. So you have some questions submitted to you. So the first question was, how did you get into Machinima?
I got into it like years and years ago because I started off in Minecraft doing like Minecraft Machinimas. And then I was just like, well, I was learning a lot of stuff in Minecraft. That's where I started to learn Blender. And I did like the final like episode, like the episode's final scene in Blender, which obviously makes it look very, very different. And so to like go along with that storyline, which was basically like these 4 witch friends living together, blah, blah, blah. One of the friends was, and ended up, like basically rewriting the world and how it looked. And so, yeah, I was like, okay, well, that was just my writing way to bring it to The Sims, basically, because I wanted to always make it look better. And I was like, okay, well, I've done Blender with it, and now I kind of want to take it to a new universe. And then I was like, does anyone even make this shit in The Sims? And so I started looking for like Sims 4 people, and the first ones that I found were Trap Goddess, which is one of my faves.
Oh, yes!
And then I found Simsberrry. And then I also found Lou Vod Life. He did a story called Vamps back in the day, and I watched that one as well. So those were like my first intros to Machinima. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, so people do this. So let me just start. And that's how I went into it.
Oh my gosh, I love that question because it's so fun, because it's so like wild and different for everyone. Oh, this question's pretty fun. Okay, what was the first television show that inspired you creatively?
Let's see. I mean, I think we all have like a whole bunch. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have a lot. No, I don't even think it was a show, to be honest. I read a lot of books. I think in terms of like inspired me to start making things was definitely a book series. It's called The House of Night. It's like one of my favorite book series. It just brought together my love of like the supernatural things. And I was like, okay. And I've always watched supernatural shows as well. So it's
you love like, supernatural.
You know, yeah. The official answer to like which show would probably be Witch, because that's one that I started doing. So
the classic.
Yeah.
Okay, this question's also fun. It's a 2-parter. So, what has been the most challenging parts about being a Sims director, and then what are your favorite things about being a Sims director?
Yeah. Filming, definitely. Okay, yeah. So filming, definitely. Hardest part, don't like it. 0 out of 10. I hate filming. I hate filming so much. I hate it with a passion. If I could skip it, I would. So yeah, filming is definitely my least favorite part about the entire thing.
Yes, it's not fun.
And I think my favorite part would probably be editing, because I really like to edit it. Editing is fun. Planning's fun, but like then you have to actually start writing stuff. And writing is fun for me. I just have to be like in a writing mood. And these days I'm just not in that. So, but yeah, editing is always something that I'm down to do. So definitely editing's the best.
Okay, cool. What inspired you to start doing Machinima Mondays?
Let's just say season 1 is done. We're coming back for season 2 maybe later. But I would say to start doing Machinima was basically just to get a gauge of like what else is out there. I was very closed off from the Machinima world in general. Like I knew who I knew about, and that was it. Like I didn't go out searching for any new ones. I didn't go out
Yeah.
I also noted that there was like no real market for creators being honest to other creators about how they perceive their work. You know what I'm saying? Like there was really no one really out there being honest with like these creators in terms of like critiques. And I love watching stuff, especially with friends, which is why I oftentimes brought people on. I love, even like with people, toward the like end of the season, we started bringing people on and reacting to their shows with them and then grading it with them just to see how they also feel about their own show. But, yeah, I did that because there wasn't a lot of things out there like that. And as creatives, I think everyone needs to hear the not so fun opinion, if that's what we want to call it. Like, I think you will never grow if you don't hear what you can fix. And a lot of the times, even in my own, like mine's is not, exempt. There will be no one telling us as creatives, oh, I love this show, but this is the things that I maybe found, unenjoyable para me. You know what I'm saying? Like that, no one is going out there telling the creators like this, maybe that cut could have been a little cleaner, or maybe this could have been different, or maybe the music there was too loud. Like no one's doing that. And so I was just like, yeah, I'll do it. We'll do it. It's fun. Let's like, that's
and it's beneficial. Like, people improve and I've
yes,
I'm gonna be there for season 2.
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna be there.
I've seen people who have taken what we've said during those Machinima nights and have applied them into their next episodes. And I'm like, wow, shut me the fuck up. I love it. I love to see it.
No, for real. Y'all, if y'all have not tuned into Machinima Mondays, if season 2 is coming out, like we all need to be there, because I feel like it was also like, it felt like it made the community so alive. I feel like it was something to look forward to. And, like directors would come together and we would all like watch together, and it was like, oh, it was like familiar, it was fun. So this next question, we're going to go, back into Blender, since you are the animation representation for the Sims Machinima, Sims Machinima and Animation Convention. How did you get so good at Blender? And like, did you watch tutorials, or was it, just experimenting?
Yeah, well, it was a lot of watching tutorials, and just watching. I think a lot of it is always just experimenting and seeing what you like and seeing your own style, or maybe like looking at references that you really enjoy and then turning that reference into something more you. Because and the thing about me is like, I always love to film everything in terms of like the process of whatever I'm doing. So like, I'm a person that likes seeing my own growth. So like I did a teaser for Code Xana like months in advance before I did like the episode or whatever.
Oh yes.
And there is a scene in the teaser that is a mirrored scene of what made the episode. But that scene that's in the official first episode is the new one, because I obviously redid it because I learned more things. I learned more about how I want lighting to look. I learned a little more about like my style in terms of like how I want it to look. And so I was just like, yeah, I gotta redo that scene now because now I don't like it. So like, even though like at the time when the teaser came out, I was so proud of what I did, and I still am, but like seeing how I've progressed and how things changed and how I got better from that in such a like short amount of time was really, it was satisfying. That's that's the word. It was satisfying. I was like, oh wow, I stand.
And it was satisfying to watch, that's for sure.
Well, season one of Code Xana canceled.
So this is our last question. But, speaking about Code Xana, what inspired you to direct Code Xana?
Well, Code Lyoko. That's a simple answer, but to delve into it, Code Lyoko is one of my favorite shows, like one of my favorite all-time shows. And even though I felt like the show was very good, it still lacked in the writing department. Like if there are any like longtime Code Lyoko fans, that we were kind of left off with a lot of unanswered questions. And that's typically what I like to do with any remake show that I'm doing, because for me, I don't like doing like the remakes. I like doing reimagines. Or like continuations. So like taking a world that already exists and adding your own story is more so my speed. And they just left a lot unanswered when the season when the show ended. They left a lot unanswered. Like, girl, what the hell? Why was Xana so evil? Like, what's wrong with that hoe? Like, they left everything kind of unanswered for me. And as a Virgo, we need those answers. We need that closure. And, so we can sleep at night. And if you're not going to give it to me, I'm not going to ask. I'm just going to make it myself. So that's typically how most of my like reimagined shows work. That's what I know people have already gotten on me about, So Espionage, which is my Totally Spies kind of reimagined show. Like, people have already been like, girl, you have teased this show way before Code Xana, and Code Xana came out first. Listen, yeah, it did, but that's only because like, it's because the difference in shows. Code Lyoko it had a lot more that I could pick up on and run with. Whereas Totally Spies wasn't as serious as a show. Like, it was a good show. Love her down. One of my favorite shows ever. However, there wasn't like much plot building in terms of the actual show. It was kind of just like they beat up this bad guy and then it's on to the next. They beat up this bad guy and it's on to the next. There was no real like there were some reoccurring enemies, but like there was no real continuous enemy. So like that show has proved to be a lot harder for me to write as a writer, because I like longer plots. I like things that I can build on and work on and add to. And So Espionage is literally like totally a ground up compartment, whereas Code Lyoko was more of a build upon. I just took what was there and I built upon it. But like now I gotta make a whole plot for So Espionage. So like that's why it's taking longer, because I'm like, girl, what we not gonna do is fight a new bitch every episode and keep going. No, I can't do that. Like, do y'all know how hard that is to write? Like, I ain't got that time. So yeah, I'm trying to work out like how many quote quote enemies will be in the first season and how many episodes are we going to have to get through those said enemies. Like, we ain't going to just see one enemy the first episode and then beat them up and then on to the next. Cause I just don't think that's realistic. So we gotta marinate in those girls before we take them down, and then we can go to the next girl. So yeah, I have actually, which is funny, I have written an episode of So Espionage, which no one knows. So like, and no one will see. Yeah, right. Now everybody knows, but I've written one episode of So Espionage right now, and I wrote it, I unwrote it, I wrote it again, and I was like, okay, I think this is where I want to leave it. So that's what I've done on the back burner, just as a secret side thing, because this I will not be starting no casting call for So Espionage again, like I did for Code Lyoko. Code Lyoko, I was completely gung ho. Like, I was tired. I was gung ho. I was excited. And it's not like I'm not going to be excited about So Espionage, but Codana I had this excitement brewing in me, which made me run through that show very, very fast. And I regret it. So now I'm dialing back a bit just to start writing again and getting back into the groove. Episode 3 is done. I just haven't had it time to like edit it. So like it's a mess. But yeah, we ain't trying to do that again. So we gotta pace ourselves this time. That's what we're learning. We're learning pacing.
All right, well, that's all the questions that we have today. So thank you for kicking off the event. Y'all, if you haven't checked out Cass, please check out her channel and her socials. You will be eating good. We will see you at the next panel. Are there any last things you want to say, Cass?
Yeah, I do. One thing about it is y'all better stand Flatbush 54, because if y'all want to see me flourish as a girl out here in these streets and in this wild world, that's where you can see it done. Yeah, stand Flatbush because I'm in it. Like, which is, that's crazy to me. I always be like, girl, not me in this damn show. And I'm also going to be in an episode of another favorite creator. I don't know if she put it on Twitter, of The River. So I was just like, girl, it's too much. It's too much. Yeah, I was excited. I was like, wow, 2 of my like favorite creators, and I'm in their shows. That's crazy. I was making voice notes about The Rivers like months ago, and now I'm gonna be a voice in it. I was like, wow.
As you
Full
should.
circle.
As you should. The growth.
But yeah, that's all. That's it.
All right, well, that's it for our first panel. We have a lot more for you guys today, so make sure you don't go anywhere. We're just gonna take a short break, and then we'll be right back into it.
We'll be right back after the break. Coming up, an interview with TC5. And after, BENIXPRODUCTIONS with Age of Darkness.
The world has changed, Dad. We hunt the weak down and destroy them. That's our way.
Get away from me.
You have the power to change the very course of this country's destiny. Your choices can affect everyone's lives. It's up to you to make that change.
What if the captain finds out? He might think we're trying to be buddy-buddy so we can join the rebellion.
If anyone sounds insane, it's you.
This isn't going to be good. You could be killed.
Ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. No going back.
Hey guys, this is Penny with a voice actor panel. Today we have the one and only Casey. Hey Casey, welcome to today's panel. How are you enjoying yourself today?
It's been so fun. I love watching all of these panels, and I'm just excited to be here.
Awesome. So some fans submitted questions for you for today's panel, so I'm going to ask them today. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. So how did you first get into voice acting?
I first got into voice acting, I think, was it when I was like 8 or something? I was probably watching Sims 2 subtitled series, and then I stopped watching them, and then was it 2011, that December, I was like, randomly remembered that I used to watch Sims a series, like subtitled series. So I was like, you know what? Let's see what's going on YouTube in Sims. And then I found Finding Mine by 3 Words Aren't Enough, which is a voiceover. And I was like, oh my god, you can do voices? And I was like, I can do that easy. So I grabbed my iPad, and like I think that was also around the time when the Stealing Heaven casting call was up, and I think I auditioned for that, and I did horribly, but I was like, yeah, let's audition because I was like, yeah, I can do that.
Cool. So what role have you played that has challenged you the most?
Challenged me the most. Let's see. I feel like lately, because I've had a lot of roles, so sometimes it's hard to remember my older ones, but at least lately, Amanda from Destiny has been challenging me in that, like, she's so loud and bubbly, and I'm very surprised that I got that role because I'm nothing like Amanda. So it's like I'll be recording lines for Amanda for like 45 minutes to an hour, and then my voice is so dead by the end of it. But it's like, so that's been like a fun challenge. But yeah, I'm just like, this is so not me. I gotta hype myself up and stuff.
Next question. You have voiced a number of roles in the Sims community. Is there any type of role or character personality that you still have not had the chance to play that you wish you had?
Let's see. I feel like I've got to be like Mean Girls and stuff, but I've never gotten to be evil, like a villain, like, you know, like Sam is L in Intertwine, like evil. So I'm like, I don't think I've ever gotten to be evil, so that would be fun. But I feel like I've gotten to try most kind of personality types. Yeah.
Do you have certain pet peeves when it comes to working with the director or other voice actors?
I don't like when directors go AWOL, like just disappear. Like I understand, but it's also like I'd like to know if you're canceling the series or like if you just need to take a break for a few months or something, like that'd be nice. Especially like once I've recorded like a bunch of lines and then like, you know, then they disappear and I have no idea, like, you know, I just wasted 30 minutes to an hour recording all those lines, you know. So that's the only thing I just wish sometimes the communication was better. I think it's gotten better now, especially with like Twitter and people having like cast servers and stuff. But like, yeah, I think that's just the one thing. It's like, I wish you would just let me know if you're taking a break or if you're completely quitting. Like, I'll be mildly annoyed if you're quitting after I've like recorded all the lines, but like then I'll know what's happening.
From a mean girl character like Lori to a character as quiet and soft as Calypso, how do you get into the mindset playing characters that are versatile and different from one another?
Honestly, I sometimes I need to look at them again because just to like remember what they look like. Pretty often, I have to listen to the previous episode's lines, just like click through a few points just to try to like get the voice again. Especially for like Calypso, but like for some characters that are like quote unquote iconic to me, like for Lori, I just have to say, Candy, sweetie, like a bunch of times, and then like I get into the Lori voice. That was kind of the same back with Emily and Overlooked. I just have to say like, hi Aiden, like a bunch, and then like I figure it out. So I don't have that with all characters though, so then sometimes I have to go back and like listen to some of my lines, just be like, okay, that's how they sound again, especially if like it's a bit of time between scripts and whatever. But then like, yeah, some characters I just have a little line and it's like I know how to get into the voice.
Okay, you are considered one of the OG voice actors in the Sims community. Having been doing this for so long, if you can give any up and coming VAs any advice, what would it be?
My advice is usually like, don't be picky about what you're auditioning for, because experience is experience.
Yeah.
Like I have like, I don't know, 300 something auditions just on YouTube when, you know, it used to be like the video responses, because I was like, it's just good practice. Even if you're not like, I get like, oh, you don't want to, like, maybe you're not interested in the series and you don't want to, but like you could always just record an audition and not even send it. I just think any practice is good practice, especially if you don't act. Like I've never acted before voice acting. I just voice act. I don't act in, but I mean, like, voice acting is acting, so like
Yeah.
I needed that experience anyways, but like
Mhm.
I don't do any like theater or anything. But like especially like, yeah, if you were like me going in this with no experience, like any audition is going to help you in the long run. Even if you're not crazy about the role, just don't send it in, but, you know, practice, try doing the lines and listen back to yourself and whatever. And then I don't know, I think also just get used to like I don't know, I feel like it's kind of harsh, but it's also like get used to like getting cast in something and maybe nothing comes out of it.
Yeah.
Because it's been better for sure, but like, you know, sometimes it's just people will put out a casting call and then they'll cast people and then they maybe will send you the first episode script and then they'll disappear. So it's just kind of like get used to people disappearing on you. Don't, like, you know, don't keep your hopes up too high of stuff always being released, but, you know, like, don't be like pessimistic about it. So I guess, yeah, that's like my 2 little bits of advice for up and coming voice actors.
Oh, well, and the next question, continuing with advice. What advice or words of wisdom would you give a voice actor struggling with identity crisis after being rejected at auditions? Which you kind of brought up, but like, I guess, how would you talk to voice actors once they've gotten like rejected?
Oh man, okay. When I was 12, 13 in my first year of the Sims community, I was always so upset when I didn't get the role because for some reason, you know, being a 13-year-old, I was like, I was so good. What are you talking about? Obviously I wasn't, but I think it's just kind of like knowing, like, it's nothing personal against you. You just didn't fit what they wanted, and you'll fit something else, you know, maybe, and like, you know, maybe you'll get the next thing. And it's just remembering it's nothing against you personally as a human. It's just you weren't what they wanted in their character.
And for our last and final question, this one's the hard one. Between Calypso, Lori, and Amanda, who would you kiss, marry, and kill, and why?
Okay. I feel like for me, I would kiss Amanda, and I'd just kiss her because, again, her personality is super different from mine. So I don't want to be married to her. I don't think I could handle that. But I don't want to kill her because I adore her. So I'm kissing Amanda. Okay, so I left the hard ones for the other 2 because Calypso's kind of boring. So I'm like, I guess I could marry her and then I'd like, there's nothing like overly annoying about her, so I could like tolerate that marriage.
Yeah.
But like, she's boring. So like, I could also kill her and then I wouldn't have to deal with her. But then Lori's fun, but Lori's so mean.
Oh, yeah.
Like, do I want to be married to that? But I also don't want to kill her because I adore her too. So I'm like, do I kill the boring one or do I marry the boring one and just have a boring marriage, or do I like marry the mean one and then get insulted for my entire marriage, you know?
Yeah, well, I don't think we've seen like all more of Calypso, so maybe like in the last episode she might, like, I don't know, surprise us and be not boring.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like, what do I pick? Let's just, you know what, because the last episode has not come out and Calypso's just boring, I'm gonna kill Calypso. And you know what? I'm fine being insulted by Lori. I think that would be fun. She can step on me and insult me and whatever.
That's so funny. Well, thank you so much, Casey, for today. It was such a blast sitting with you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day at SMAC.
Yes, I can't wait for the rest of the panels.
All right. Thank you all, guys. Bye.
Don't move, we'll be right back. Up next, BENIXPRODUCTIONS is here with Age of Darkness. And after, we sit down with voice actor ALLIE GOODELL.
Look at our kingdom. No war, no conflict, just peace.
The Queen. She has died of illness.
Oh. Aren't you happy to hear this news?
I suppose. But her daughter is heir to the throne.
Are you completely sure you don't remember me?
The name still doesn't ring a bell. I'm sorry. Really.
There are good people in Sindris that will protect her.
Yes, there are good people there, but the bad outweighs the good. Dawn will be lucky if she makes it out of that place alive.
It's a mystery.
I couldn't be a queen. I'm just a girl. A clueless girl just trying to figure her life out.
It's a mystery.
I have no idea what to do, Emmett. They won't listen to me. They don't see me as their leader.
You have to make them listen, sis. Some rebels are threatening with a riot.
5 mermaids disappeared in less than a week. Someone is hunting for us.
Whoever is doing this will pay for this. I won't let anything happen to you or any of my people.
Our time is running out. Any second can be our last.
Many mermaids experience nothing but pain, loss, and suffering here.
When the darkness of a soul consumes a person from the inside out, a dark witch is born.
He has no right forbidding me to see my children.
You can't rule if your own people are not on your side.
I am trying to end the endless cycle of abuse and violence in this godforsaken town. The day will come when you will be grateful for that.
Anyone can be stopped.
Hello everybody, this is Benny here, or you might know me as BENIXPRODUCTIONS, and welcome to the first ever Sims Machinima and Animation Convention, which is such an amazing idea, and thank you so much to the team who put this event together. You guys are incredible, and on behalf of the entire community, thank you. And so I am here today to answer some of you guys' questions, mainly about my project, which is called Age of Darkness. It is a fantasy series which the story is basically about a war that's going on between vampires, humans, and witches. And then there are also some other layers to the story, but I don't really want to spoil it. So if you're interested in the fantasy genre or vampires or magic, definitely check it out. Okay, and let's get to the questions, shall we? So let me see. The first question I got was, what has been my favorite episode to film and why? I would say it was the season 1 finale, because when I sat down to film it, I had a very clear vision of what I wanted it to be, and by the end I felt like I pretty much achieved what I had in mind. So I really liked that episode, especially the fight at the end. So yeah, that was my favorite to film and also to edit. And then let's move on to the next question I got, which is my favorite episode to write. Now that is it is most definitely the second episode of season 2, which you guys have not seen yet, but it has such a huge twist at the end, and then the lead up to that in the final couple of scenes. It was really intense to write it, and I very much enjoyed the whole process. So definitely that episode, which I cannot wait for you to see. Alright, moving right on to the next one, which is how long does it take me to create one full episode? Overall, I'd say 2 months, probably. 1 month for filming and then another month for editing. So yeah, I'd say two months overall. Okay, next question. Oh my god, this is a great one. Okay, whoever asked this, that's a great question. If I could marry any of my characters, who would it be? Well, it depends why I decided to marry someone, because if I was to marry for love, I would obviously choose Zach. I'm family oriented, he is family oriented, so I feel like we could make a great couple. But if I would marry to rise to power and to, be a leader, I mean, is there any better choice than Zelda herself, the queen of the story? Yeah, she's the obvious choice. I would... You know what? Screw it. I would marry Zelda any day of the week. So yeah, that's my final answer. Oh my god. Okay, let's move on. I say let's move on. What has been the most challenging episode to film? Oh god, to film the third episode of season 1. I filmed that episode on my old PC, which was dying at the time, so it was really hard to get through. Everything was lagging. I had like 2 breakdowns while filming that episode, so yeah, that was that was pretty challenging. And then there's also the most challenging to write. That's also the season 1 finale, because originally it was meant to be the series finale, and so it had everything. I initially tied up all the loose ends, and then when I had the idea for a second season, I had to change a lot of things, delete some aspects of certain scenes. So yeah, it was really challenging to find workarounds to turn it into a season finale with a proper cliffhanger instead of a series finale which has a satisfying end and ties up all the loose ends. So that was hard. Okay, next question is how many seasons can we expect from Age of Darkness? So far I only have 2 seasons planned out, but I recently had a couple of ideas for a potential 3rd season, so who knows. But I would say if there were a season 3, that would definitely be the last one. And alright, there is a great question here as well, which is my most rewarding time. Oh, sorry, the most rewarding part about my time in the Sims community. I would say it's the friendships I made so far. So many incredible people are in the Machinima community. They are so supportive. They are so nice and so talented. I'm just always in awe of everyone. Like, yeah, definitely the friendships. And then the same person asked what my favorite part of creating Machinima is, and then my least favorite. My favorite is definitely filming. I got really confident with filming recently, so I'm trying to experiment with more angles, with more techniques, so I've been enjoying that a lot recently. And then my least favorite is editing. No questions asked. Like, I don't like doing that. Alright, and then the last question here is what can we expect for the second season of Age of Darkness? Lots of new drama, lots of new characters, huge reveals, huge plot twists, just like in the first one. And yeah, it's going to be really good. I love it so far, and I really hope that you guys will enjoy it as well. And I actually have a special clip from the first episode, so let's check that out.
The witches are our enemies, not our allies. It's always been like that, and it always will be. Seamus knew that. He never would have done what you were doing.
And where's he now? Huh? Tell me. Maybe if he knew when to put his differences with the Coven aside, he'd still be alive, running this entire town. But he was too stupid to realize that the witches are much more beneficial to us vampires as our allies than as our enemies. And that is why he died. He is dead because he was too proud to let go of his hatred. And thank God he is. He has been leading us from one war to the next. If you think that's a good thing, you are just as delusional as he was.
So that concludes this little Q&A. Thank you very much to the team behind the event once more. And thank you guys for listening to me rambling about random stuff. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the event. And stay tuned for Season 2 of Age of Darkness, premiering this fall. Goodbye.
SMAC will return after the break. Coming up, an interview with ALLIE GOODELL. And after, April Dark's panel for Loaded Gun.
As the world before was falling apart in front of their eyes, our ancestors didn't just stand around. No, they created the new world's greatest achievement, Axis.
Let's get out of here, find our own army, and get to Earth.
But my mother...
Who cares? You'd make a great ruler, Alexander.
I've just been informed that my son, lately charged with treason, has escaped the city boundary with his accomplice, Sierra Blake.
Look, I saw the photo of Sierra. I know
You're not her, Calypso. You may look like her and think you're her, but you're not.
So, what would you do if you were me?
Nothing. Sometimes that's for the best.
So my chest is on fire.
Watch him, it's run! It's a trap!
North?
I guess I'm lying 'cause of one eye. Guess I'm lying 'cause of dawn. 'Cause I just feel so tired, like it's moving slowly down.
Fuck you!
So you ain't you and you like
Send her all the memories.
This ain't you and you know it. But ain't that just the point?
Hey guys, welcome to another voice actor panel. I'm your host, Penny, and today we are talking with the one and only ALLIE GOODELL. ALLIE, welcome to today's event. How are you enjoying yourself today?
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Thank you for joining us. So some of your fans submitted some questions that I'm going to ask for you today. So are you ready?
I suppose. Let's go.
So the first question that was submitted is, how did you get into voice acting? Were you a director first, or did you get into directing after being a voice actor for SimSerrry?
So I think I got into directing and voice acting about the same time. I probably started directing slightly before, probably months before I started voice acting too. It was 2012. June or July 2012, I started directing, and then I was seeing all these other projects coming out that were voiceover projects, because my first project that I made was subtitled. So I was seeing all these voiceover projects, and I was like, hey, maybe I want to try some of those out. And so I started auditioning for projects with my mother's laptop. I would steal it from her bedroom and record during the day on her desktop using the terrible desktop microphone that was on the laptop. So, yeah.
Okay, so do you have your favorite types of characters you like to play?
I feel like my favorite characters to play are characters that are really rough from the outside, but once the series or the film, whatever, develops, you start to see they're all mushy on the inside and have feelings and emotions, but they try to suppress their emotions. They want to look all bad and stuff, but in the inside they're ooh, I feel things. Like Artemis from the Canopsy Effect, and Candy Ward from Ward University, I would say. Those are two really good roles to show, oh, I'm a badass on the outside, but on the inside, I'm really vulnerable.
You have voiced many roles with a wide range of personalities. Is there a certain type of character or a personality that you wish to voice that you still haven't had the chance to?
I feel like I would love to voice someone who's very flamboyant and very whimsical. I haven't really voiced someone like that yet because I've never really let loose with my voice and been something super chaotic. I feel like I've been very focused on how I say a lot of my lines, that I don't just go free and go through it, and having a character like that would be really fun to play around with.
How does it feel to have the chance to voice a non-binary character?
So I personally still identify as a cis woman, but I do like she, they as my label, just because I think it's very good to normalize the they pronouns. I feel comfortable with they pronouns, and so I feel like a lot of people can get used to that, even if they're cisgender. I don't like to audition for transgender roles because I myself am not transgender, so I wouldn't want to represent a role that was be male to female, female to male. But I do find that non-binary representation is really good, and we don't have a lot of it in the Sims community. So I would love to see that flourish and built more. Like I said, I don't necessarily identify as non-binary, but I do go by she, they, just because it's good to normalize that stuff, and I'm chill with they, so.
I know you recently become highly selective of which roles you pick. What is it in a certain casting call or a certain character that you'll come across that will make you go, I want to audition for this role?
So I feel like the story has to be unique. It needs to have kind of something that grasps my attention. Say, a story might have a twist on another story that is kind of typical. I feel like when it comes to some things, I almost didn't audition for Ward University because I thought it was going to be, oh, it's a typical college series. But then I heard about the character Candy Ward, and she was very complicated. She wasn't one-dimensional. I'm usually looking for three-dimensional characters that I can explore and fully dive into. Like I said, I don't really like the one-dimensional framework. So if you have a casting call, I would suggest making your characters look as well-rounded as possible. obviously trying to avoid spoilers, but like anything you can dot in there, like, oh, this character like is going to have some complications later on that we'll delve into. And I just really love the storytelling aspect of casting calls. I'm really in it for the story. Like, if it's anything like fantasy or sci-fi, I'll probably be interested in it. I am trying to limit what I take on, though, right now, because I don't have a lot of time anymore, and so I'm mostly looking for paid projects. But if you really want to grab my attention, I would say sci-fi fantasy genre and just, like, well-rounded characters if you're having an unpaid project that you might be interested in me voicing for.
You have had many roles over the past couple of years, but all of your characters have entirely different personalities. Rain, Artemis, Candy. Is it challenging to get into the mindset of the characters you play?
I've found that sometimes it's hard for me, especially to get into Artemis sometimes, because I feel like my personality is so different than hers. Like, she's very hard and stiff a lot of the times, and I am not. I'm a very open, emotional book as a person. So it's hard for me to get... Yeah, she very much tries to cover up her emotions. She puts up walls, which I don't really do. So that's hard to get into for me. And especially in the later episodes that have been coming out, her character has been growing more. And so I'm riding that line between like the hard wall and then like her opening up. And so it's a fine but a hard line to ride, which I find very interesting. It's a nice challenge to have. And honestly, that's a sign of good writing. When characters thrive and challenge you to look at them in a different way. I feel like Rain in earlier episodes, I felt like Rain was easier for me to relate to just because Rain was very much like me. When she started meeting Bellamy and things like that, and she started developing, I was like, ooh, okay, like this is a bit different. So it was a bit harder for me to relate, but also I could still find that connection with her. So I guess it really depends on the role, and sometimes if they're in scenarios that are like I don't know how to phrase this. I'd say, like, not reflective of reality. Sometimes it's hard to be like, hey, what if I was in this situation? Like, Artemis is living in a place that isn't Earth, and they're trying to get back to Earth. I'm like, that's never happened to me before. Let's see how we can try and relate to this. So it's just about, I guess, putting myself in the character's shoes, which sometimes is a little hard. I know some actors do, like, similar situations. They've been like, what if your best friend was in prison? Or like they use like scenarios to like compare in series. I don't really do that unless I really, really, really am struggling to relate to the characters. And then I'll like insert my own experiences into them to try and get a hold of that emotion that I'm looking for.
Role, whether current or formal, has resonated with you the most. Which do you most relate to?
I definitely relate the most to Rain Rivers just because she's an emotional mess from the beginning of the series. And as an adult, as I am now 23 years old, I've been finding it hard to come out of my comfort zone, and we can see her doing the same thing in the series. So I feel like Rain is just me. She's also queer, and I am queer. She's a good one. We're both queer. We're both women looking for our place in the world. Yeah, Rain, definitely.
Next question. Have you ever struggled with identity crisis as...
I don't... Well, I was gonna say no, but now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like a lot of the time when I hear another voice actor's lines, and I'm like, wow, that was incredible. Like, I wish I could do that. Because I see someone's performance, and I'm just like, I can't manage to pull that out of myself, but they did. Like, they're so great. I guess it's a comparison thing. Sometimes I feel like I'm not portraying emotions well enough, and I'm like, I could do better, but like, no matter how hard I try to repeat a line like 10 times, it doesn't want to come out of my mouth the way I picture it in my head. But then again, that's kind of how the imagination works, where like you'll picture it in your head and it never turns out right. So you know, sometimes you just have to be like, hey, director, here's my lines. Let me know what you think. And it's like, sometimes you just gotta, you know, hand it over and go. And if they don't say anything, then you tried your best, I guess.
Next question, and this one's an interesting one. Between your characters, Artemis, Rain, and Candy, who would you kiss, marry, and kill, and why?
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh god. I would probably... Fuck, I don't want to kill any of them. Okay. I would probably kiss Rain. I would kill Artemis. Oh, that one's gonna be a hot opinion. And I would marry Candy just because I would not want to marry Rain. She reminds me too much of myself, and she's too clingy. That's the one thing that's a difference between me and Rain is very clingy, and I could not deal with that in a marriage. And Candy is rich, so Candy has the money. So, I mean, right there. Yeah, Artemis just got the short end of the stick because I was like, well, I don't know who... Sorry, Artemis.
Okay, and this is the last and final question. What advice would you give to upcoming voice actors in the Sims community?
So I would advise, first of all, to, if you are looking for things to audition for, definitely audition on Casting Call Club. I know there's a lot of projects on there that aren't Sims related, but if you audition for those projects, you'll just gain more and more experience in the auditioning side of recording things. One thing of advice also that I would give, which I don't follow because I'm really bad at it, is don't record too many takes because your director might get annoyed at you and then you won't be able to differentiate which ones are good and which ones are bad because they'll all sound the same. They will all sound the same, and then you're in the editing room for like 3 hours trying to decide which takes to put and which takes not to put, and you're like, I hate myself. I recorded all of these and I did not need to do all these, and now I can't decide which one is what. I would also use actors that if you like love their work, I would study how they portray their emotions, and I wouldn't say match their emotions, but I would say study how they do things and find a way to do it yourself that feels natural and unique to you. But that's a good way to show, like, hey, how should I portray being sad? How should I portray being angry? Like, these are the ways that these people did it, and so I'm going to try it my way and, like, try and mix it in between to help, like, improve how you portray your emotions. And like I said previously, do a what-if scenario if you're really having problems getting into the character's shoes. Basically, what-ifs is where you take something from your own life and say, hey, like, what if my mom got in a car crash? And, like, how would you feel then? And you would compare that maybe to, like, hey, this character died in the series, but I can't relate to, like, this character death because I've never had someone die in my family, for example. You could use this car crash example, like maybe your family got in, like, an accident, and you can use those feelings you were feeling at that time to relate to this character death in the series. So it's just about finding moments to identify with in your own life that connect to the series, even if they're not particularly the same thing. It's a good way to evoke emotions out of yourself.
Well, those are all the questions I have for today. Thank you, ALLIE, for joining us in this year's SMAC. I hope you enjoy the rest of your time in the convention.
Yeah, that was fun. It was good talking with you.
Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Up next, a Q&A with April Dark. Followed by an interview with Samantha Rose.
Never imagine.
Finally.
What happened to you?
You have to find her.
Who?
One of my daughters. She's with Afyan now. You have to kill her.
What? You want me to kill a kid?
If you don't do that, you'll put the whole dimension in danger.
Why?
Just treat it as a usual mission. Find her, then kill her. Easy.
Everybody wants to rule the world.
Hi, April's here. Welcome to my director's panel for SMA convention, in which I'll be answering your questions. I'm gonna put something in the background, probably some of my stuff or some unreleased things. We'll see. So, not to prolong because I don't really have much time. The first question I've got is, what are some shows you enjoy watching, Sims or in real life? So, my favorite live action shows are Siren, Jane the Virgin, Lucifer, The Umbrella Academy, and The 100, minus the last seasons. As for the Machinima series, it's difficult for me to even list those shows because there are so many of them, but those I can think of at the moment are The Knopse Effect by Simsberrry, The Walking Dead by Izumini, Quest by Michael, Invisible by Serendipitia, Foxbury by The Mom Cave, Sims Next Top Model and Immoral Covert, both by Delcrita, and there is many more, but some of them I didn't manage to finish yet, and I'm really behind on most of the shows in this community. I will definitely catch up on them during my break. The next question is, a lot of people believe The Sims 3 is the most challenging game to film with. Have you experimented with other games? And what about The Sims 3 that makes it a game for you? Yeah, I can definitely confirm that The Sims 3 is the most challenging game to film with. I had an experience with filming in all Sims games, and this one can be a freaking nightmare at times. You need to wait for everything to load and it takes forever. It usually takes about 5 hours for me to create one sim, because everything loads so slowly. I'm not even exaggerating. I only have like 20 gigabytes of CC, which isn't that much for a Machinima creator. So then, what makes it a game for me? Well, I have no idea. I guess I just got used to it, and now it would be difficult for me to switch to another one. But I will probably have to do that eventually. Like, seriously, I don't recommend this game. Just choose a different one for filming. It's not worth your nerves. Next question. What has been the most challenging part about being a Sims director? Well, I think I just kinda answered that, but other than a game not working properly, I guess the most challenging part for me was to not treat myself so serious about this all. I don't know how to explain that, but I'm generally a big perfectionist to the point that it gets really unhealthy. I tend to procrastinate with everything. I am scared to even start doing one particular thing because I am afraid it will suck, so as a result, I do nothing for months. And then I'm surprised seeing that the last episode was published like 10 months ago. So that's like my biggest challenge, I think. If you could give any up-and-coming director an advice, what would it be? To start with, I don't think I'm the right person to give advice to up-and-coming directors because I actually feel like one. Like, I know I've been recording for years, but I still feel like a newbie, especially with writing. For real, I got more confident with what I do in the case of the newest version of Loaded Gun. Before I had no idea what I was doing, and it shows. So my advice would be, or at least it was what helped me, don't rush the plot just because you want to create a shorter episode. You will get confused, viewers will get confused. Just try to develop your idea. If you want to create a shorter show, maybe resign from adding 50 characters like I used to do. Just focus on the best ones, in your opinion, and your best ideas. Don't repeat my mistakes. How did you come up with the plot for Loaded Gun? Well, I was like 11 years old when I had a dream that was kind of inspiring to me, I guess. At that time, I was a big fan of the Underworld series of movies. This idea stayed with me for many years and I managed to develop it a lot during that time. The first version of Loaded Gun was created by me in 2013 or in 2014, I don't really remember. I don't have those videos anymore because my hard drive broke down sadly. I mean, maybe it was for the better because those videos were so bad that still I sometimes have nightmares about them. Like, seriously. What has been your favorite episode of the series to film, write, and why? It's difficult for me to say if it comes to writing because previously I thought I did write the whole series, but then I realized it sucked, and I'm currently trying to fix that. If I had to predict, I would say that my favorite episode to write would be the one with Aoife's backstory, because that's my favorite character. And to film, I enjoyed filming episode 5 because there were lots of scenes placed in really pretty locations, and there is one nice fight scene at the end of it. I can't wait to show you that episode. How do you stay motivated and inspired to work on your series? The answer is, I don't stay motivated. The last episode of Loaded Gun was published like 10 months ago, so I'm motivated only if it comes to writing, because I do that almost every day. But filming demotivates me immediately. I guess what helps me then is reading what I've already written and writing down all the animations I want to use for every dialogue and action. It protects me from getting confused with everything, and then I usually get hyped because I actually start seeing the project in my head more clearly. Also, I really like watching shows of a similar genre to the project I'm making at that moment. It kinda helps me to feel that whole vibe I need to feel to make myself get to work. What shows inspire you? So for Loaded Gun it would be, I think that Siren and Lucifer the most. Both of those shows have the dynamics I wanted to achieve in my series. Those are fantasy action shows whose plot mostly circulates around supernatural, mysterious characters with superpowers and also focuses on their complicated relationships. So I would say those two were the most inspiring to me. How many episodes do you have planned for the Loaded Gun? When I wrote it for the first time, it turned out like 20 episodes, but currently I'm in the process of rewriting everything and developing it. I think that eventually there will be like 20 to 25 episodes, around 30 to 40 minutes in length. What is your favorite part about being a Simsberrry director? A least favorite? You already know my least favorite part, so I will tell you about my most favorite part, which is the open world and lots of custom animations. As we speak, I would like to thank Izumini for her amazing job with creating animations. She's created tons of them exclusively for my series, and I will be forever grateful for that. If you could have any superpower in Loaded Gun, what would it be? This is a really interesting question. I think that's teleportation or flying. The last one is not really a thing in my show, but oh my god, I always wanted to be able to fly. But yeah, that would be everything that could possibly help me save on plane tickets or on gasoline. Who's your favorite character to write for? Least favorite? In terms of writing, because I guess this is what you meant, it would be Avery or Aoife. I can't explain why, I just like those characters the most. The least one to write is Connor, because he was and still is the hardest character to write for me. It was difficult for me to present his confusion with life and other emotions. Maybe because I can't really relate to his choices sometimes. So I think that generally it is difficult to write a character that is so different from you. Okay, so that's all. I'm probably running out of time already, so I just wanted to quickly thank you for watching this panel. I am really happy that something like a Machinima convent is a thing now in our community, and I'm really excited to watch the rest of the panels. I hope you enjoyed mine. Have a nice day all. Bye!
Don't move, we'll be right back. First up, an interview with Samantha Rose, followed by her Stars to Shine director panel.
Hey girl, open the walls, play with your dolls. We'll be a perfect family. When you walk away is when we really play. got it going on. Ha, you're blinded by her jewelry. When you turn your back, she pulls out a flask and forgets his infidelity. Oh, she's coming to the attic. Plastic, go back to being plastic. No one ever listens. This wallpaper glistens. One day they'll see what goes down in the kitchen. Places, get in your places. Throw on your dress and put on your tall faces. Everyone thinks that we're perfect. Please don't let them look through the curtains. Picture, smile for the picture. Pose with your brother, won't you be a good sister? Everyone thinks that we're perfect. Please don't let them look through the curtains. COLMHOUSE, I see things nobody else sees. COLMHOUSE, I see things nobody else sees.
And for our next voice actor panel today, we have Samantha Rose. Sam, welcome to today's event.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
All right. Today, some of your fans submitted questions, and I'm going to be asking them to you today. So are you ready?
I think so.
Okay. So why don't you tell us how you got into voice acting?
Well, I think I just kind of started looking into Sims Machinima at first, but then, when I stumbled upon it, I kind of realized that these people had these things had voices, and I was like, how are these people getting into this stuff? So I eventually just figured it out, and then I just wanted to be just like them. So I figured it out and recorded on my phone and on a Guitar Hero mic, and it's been smooth sailing from there.
What has been your favorite role of all time in the community and why?
Of all time?
Yeah.
Of all time.
That is the question that was submitted.
Wow, that really is a hard one because I feel like all of my roles are so different, but I don't know. Oh man. I'm trying to think. I've had so many roles throughout the year, so it's hard to think of like just one favorite. I guess so far, throughout my Sims community, Sims voice acting journey, I've always played the same roles. I played kids, I would play high-pitched shy girls, I would play, snooty blondes sometimes. So I guess I can't really it's really hard to think of them because they've seemed all the same. But I mean, one that just kind of sticks out is Elle from Intertwined by Little Mid, because I really feel like I got to really experiment with being evil, and I never recorded lines like that. So it was just a really interesting time recording those lines. I really enjoyed the last set of lines I did for the last episode that came out, but I think that's probably my number one is Elle from Intertwined.
Yeah, and she's like really like scary, creepy kind of villainish. So it's good to like see you in a different type of like character. So you did such a good job.
Thank you.
You have played many roles over the past year. Which role, whether former, current, or upcoming, has resonated with you the most? Which can you relate to the most?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say my own, but I mean, I've always related to a role that I gave myself, Annalise from My Guardian. I mean, literally, she's me. And, I think I think I relate to her the most, but for roles that are upcoming is Cal from Flatbush 54 by Kyle. I was not going to audition for this because I really thought I wasn't going to get in. And when I got this role, I had tears in my eyes. I was so excited because being in something of Kyle's was, pretty much a dream of mine. I told him many times I could die happy if I get into something by Kyle. And I did, and I just felt so, because I know he gets tons of auditions, so I just felt really, really good about myself, and I felt like, wow, I was good enough, I was good enough to make the cut. So I'm super excited about that. And another role that I kind of relate to in kind of like a little bit of a sense, I haven't seen much of her character, but so far from what I've recorded, I relate to her is Isabel from Athelda. She's a super sassy country girl, and I just absolutely adore her, and I really do relate to her in some way or another. She's just super sassy, and it's great.
Wow. So speaking of roles, what type of role that you have not yet had the chance to play that you would like to see yourself playing one day?
Honestly, I never get many lead roles. I don't really ever get a lead role. I usually get like the side character, which is like fine, the second main character that's like a shy girl or just high pitched, outgoing girl, whatever. But I don't think I've ever gotten like the main protagonist lead role, and I would really like to, be able to have that someday, but I don't know.
Well, you never know. I mean, there'll be new series popping up, so
that's true.
Never know. So next question. What was the most emotional scene which you have ever voiced in?
The most emotional scene I've ever voiced in. Well, I guess you could say, episode 8 of Intertwined. I do think I had to use a crap ton of emotions for that, and that, I guess emotion doesn't necessarily mean like emotional, mean like sad. I had to use a ton of angry, crazy emotions all over the place. I was in my closet for such a long time recording for those. I was trying so hard, and it was very, very difficult. So I remember that took a lot of emotion out of me. I just felt dead afterwards. But I guess another one would definitely be the Kenesopia effect episode. I don't recall the episode, but we all know that scene that I'm talking about.
We all know it. Yes, we all know that.
That scene was super emotional, and I basically had to make myself cry.
How did you do that?
Well, I think I can really put myself into the character's like situation. Although I did think it was not real. I did think the whole situation was real, but I did, put myself in her shoes, and I just had to just really, I don't know how to explain it. I can just kind of put myself there and imagine how she's feeling, and I just kind of go for it. It's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah, and it's one of those scenes that I think a lot of us have not recovered from. So,
yes.
You did really good.
Thank
Do you have any certain reservations about playing certain characters? Is there anything about a character that would make you go, no, this isn't the character for me?
Honestly, I'm not really sure. I haven't really ran into that. I guess one thing that I'm kind of insecure about is trying to go into more of a medium tone. I haven't really perfected my lower tones, and also, I guess being a mom character, I don't think I could really play a mom character, to be honest with you. I think I'd have a really hard time doing it. I just can't. I'm not comfortable with my lower range, so I guess if someone asked me to play a role that was like, lower pitched or like seductive, I'm not doing it. Seductive, no. I would never. I can't do it. I wish I could, but I can't.
Maybe with practice. So what has been your favorite scene to voice?
My favorite scene to voice. Oh man, I keep going back to Intertwined, but that scene was just crazy. Scene where Elle is like literally, going nuts. Like that, it was just so weird hearing myself like that, and I look back and I'm like, wow, I did that. So that's probably like my favorite scene that I've seen myself in so far.
What has been the most rewarding part about voicing in the Sims community?
Well, honestly, it's made me kind of less insecure about my voice. I mean, in the beginning, when I started, I kind of sounded super young and I had like a little bit of a country accent, and I just didn't feel like I had like a good voice, if that makes sense. And then throughout being in the community and having all these roles, I progressed and learned more things about voice acting, and I eventually got comfortable with how my voice sounds, and it just made me more confident.
If you can give any advice to any upcoming voice actor, what would it be?
Audition for everything. Well, maybe not everything, but everything that you're possibly interested in, because, I mean, just because you don't get in one thing doesn't mean you won't get in another. So if you find yourself, continuing to not get any roles, don't lose hope, because I'm telling you, directors look for very unique, specific voices, and you never know what your voice might fit. Like, you really just never know.
Between your characters, Estrella from The Canassi Effect, Amelia from Invisible, and Isabel from Matilda, who would you kiss? Who would you marry? And who would you kill, and why?
Wow. Kiss, marry, kill. Kiss, marry, kill. Okay, honestly, like, Astria's already sick, so I wouldn't really feel as bad killing her, because she's already sick, so I'd probably kill her, get it out of the way. Between Amelia and Isabel, oh my goodness. I would kiss Amelia, I think, because, I mean, I feel like for Amelia and Isabel, it's really hard to decide, but from what I know from Isabel is she, knows about, like, I want to say she's a nurse, but she's not. She knows about, like, healing properties and stuff, and she's also, like, she's not afraid to beat up people. She's not, she's sassy, but I really feel like she would protect me a lot and help me and heal me and all that stuff. And so yeah, I feel like I would probably marry Isabel and kiss Amelia. It's hard to choose between them, but I just, I could be healed.
Yeah, and you would be protected at all cost. So it totally makes sense. Yeah, and Amelia, she's probably still young and still figuring things out. So.
Yes.
So those are all the questions that I have today. So thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your time.
We'll be right back after the break. Up next, Sam is back for a Stars to Shine panel.
Hello, Luke. Welcome to the In-Between. You have been chosen to be a guardian. If you succeed, you will earn your wings.
What do I have to do?
Your task is to grant her wish.
I'm your guardian.
What? Guardian?
Yes, I'm here to earn my wings, and the only way to do this is to help make your greatest wish come true.
You can't be serious, Annalise. Guardians aren't real. It's impossible.
But I saw him. I talked to him. He told me he was going to grant my wish. And my wish is to fall in love.
There's just something about you, Annalise. You're always there for me.
even when I don't deserve it. Thank you. I know this sounds crazy, but please, I don't want this to go away. If I knew this feeling was possible, I would have stayed. This warmth, this happiness, is something I've never felt. I can't let that go away. It breaks me to see her with someone else. She's supposed to be with me.
I'm sorry, Luke.
But no matter what happens, I'll always be with you.
Hey everyone! It's Sam, aka XSTARSTOSHINEX, and thank you so much for taking the time to submit questions. Who I have with me is Tashi, aka A Little Mid, and she will be interviewing me today. So without further ado, let's get started!
Okay, Sam, your first question is, what was the inspiration behind your project?
Thinking back, I honestly don't really remember how the idea started. I think I watched a movie called Just Like Heaven, and it just came to me. I also really enjoy the idea of this forbidden love idea too. I just also remember really wanting to create something new and different and something kind of unique, I guess. And then my guardian just kind of came to life.
Is there any genre that you would never attempt?
I would have to say sci-fi. It's honestly just not my strong suit. Big props to those who can do sci-fi because I could never. I guess something else would be post-apocalyptic, but I've tried it once before. And if you've seen it, it's obviously not my best work.
Okay, you are one of the OG Sims directors out there. What advice would you give up-and-coming Sims directors just starting machinima making?
I'm gonna be blunt here. If you don't have patience, don't do it. It takes so much time to find custom content and get the mods that you need to start filming. It's really so much harder than it looks. Another thing, though, would be to watch other machinimas to get an idea of how to film. I think a handful of people in the community have made some tutorials of how to get started in machinima making, so I would definitely watch those. Also, I'd say if you plan on doing a voiceover series, I would greatly advise you to get a good amount of scripts finished up before putting out a casting call. You don't know how many times I've gotten behind. It's best to know where your story is going. Trust me.
What has been the most rewarding part about your time in the Sims community?
I would say the most rewarding part would definitely be the friends I've made within the Sims community. I really honestly don't know what I would do without them. I feel like my life would be so different without them. Like, I definitely wouldn't be playing as many games.
I'm I'm gonna die.
I guess another rewarding thing, though, is just to be able to see the stories that you think up in your head come to life. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. I know there's also been some insane things happen in the community, but at the end of the day, I'm glad I've stuck around for as long as I have.
Between writing, filming, and editing, what is your favorite part about creating a Sim series? And what is your least favorite?
I'd say editing is my favorite. I really enjoy choosing the music for each scene and then just slowly seeing the whole thing come together. It's kind of just getting a sense that you're almost done. For least favorite, this honestly was hard, but I guess I would say filming because we all know that Sims 2 is a pain in the butt.
How did you come up with the storyline of your series?
Well, like I said before, the movie Just Like Heaven kind of gave me the idea of a human falling in love with an angel. And of course, that's pretty much a forbidden love, and we all know that's full of drama, so I love it.
Who from your characters do you most relate to?
I would have to say Annalise for sure. Definitely not as much now, but back when I was in high school, I definitely was exactly like her. I was super dramatic and wanted to fall in love all the time. And also, we're both blondes.
And what is the most exciting thing about rebooting My Guardian?
I'm excited to take my favorite story and give it a second chance with better filming and writing. I know a lot of people probably think it's dumb of me to redo it after it being so well received back in 2014. But honestly, it's mostly for me. I wanted to see how I could improve the story, and I really wanted to see it with some better editing and filming.
How do you stay inspired with working on a story for so long?
It's hard, honestly. There's times where I let it sit for weeks and not even think about it, but at the end of the day, I always want to see it finished. But everyone has times where they feel stuck. It's normal. Inspiration comes and goes. Just don't overwork yourself, and if it starts to feel like a chore, just take a break. We all deserve breaks. I guess I stay inspired because I think of my VAs and how hard they worked on their lines. I just don't want to let them down, I guess. And for people who are excited for the next episode, I want to make them proud and don't want to disappoint them. And I know full well I want to complete the series, so I will. Come to think of it, I have been working on this series for a really long time. Like, with Season 1, 2, and the remake. About 8 years in total. I guess right now, My Guardian Remastered really feels like something new. Like, set aside from Season 1 and 2 of the original My Guardian.
Alright, your last question is, your series is a rom-com. How do you balance between the romance, the comedy, and the drama?
This is a really hard question to answer, and I actually don't really know. I feel like I don't balance them well, but come to think of it, it's really all about character development and being able to weave the genres between the characters. Like, there are some characters that are more shy, there's some characters that are more outgoing, more dramatic, etc. But thank you for thinking that I do. I honestly don't think I balance them really well, but I would have to say it's about character development and how they interact with each other. Thank you all for your questions.
Uh-oh, looks like we've reached the end of day 1 of the Sims Machinima and Animation Convention.
I don't know how, but that's on you, Faze.
Period.
Don't you worry though, we're coming back tomorrow with more exciting panels, so make sure you tune in.
Or else.
Here's what you can expect in tomorrow's schedule.
If you're a fan of CSIM Productions, Latibule, and FLX Pictures, you'll have to tune in for their director panels.
And the cast of Fly Away and Great Heights will be showing up in exclusive interviews led by Star de la Vega and Faze Studio.
Bree Storm, Ryan Avis, Simfinito, and Transles Ruby VA will bring us behind the scenes and talk about their many voice acting roles. See you tomorrow!
See you tomorrow, bye!